Okay, so we're going to apply the properties of exponents we have been working with to expressions with fractional exponents. Okay, so I want to remind you of the properties that we know so far. We know that if I have two exponential expressions with the same base and I have to multiply, all I have to do is add the exponents, right? So if I have now, instead of whole numbers, if I have fractional numbers for exponents, I still had to add the exponents, right? Now remember that 1/2 plus 1/3, I had to get my LCD, convert this to my LCD, which is 6, right? And rewrite the fractions, right? And then that gives me 5/6, correct? So then the answer is x to the 5/6, and I can go ahead and do one extra step, which is write this in a radical form, which would be a radical. This thing right here will be in my root. This expression will be under the radical, and this number could be in my power. Okay? So in other words, I'm using the same properties that I learned before, but now I'm using them with fractional exponents. So I'm going to go to page 186, and we are going to do problems number 59 to 65. I'm going to do the odd problems, you're going to do the even problems, and as you do the even problems, you're going to check your answers in the back. Okay? Let me start with problem number 59. And in 59, I have 4a to the 1/3 times a to the 2/3. Okay? Now remember that this 4 is the coefficient, and now a is going to have a new exponent. I'm going to add 1/3 plus 2/3. So it's going to be 1/3 plus 2/3. And now my answer here is going to be 4a to 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, as you know, and 3/3 is equals to 1, right? So we will have 4a to the 1, and I don't need to write the exponent. A to the 1 is a, so I don't need to rewrite it. Okay? Let's go with problem number 61. And again, a lot of use of the properties we had done before, or we have worked with before. Y to the negative 2/3 times y to the 5/3. I need to write my y, and I'm going to add negative 2/3 plus 5/3, and negative 2/3 plus 5/3, and it's going to be equals to 3/3. And 3/3 is y to the 1, and y to the 1 is y. Okay, so the answer here is y. Let me do problem number, let's go to the next page. We're going to do problem number 63. Is x to the 1/2 divided by x to the 3/2. That is, I write my x, right? And it's going to be 1/2 minus 3/2. And 1/2 minus 3/2 is x to the negative 2/2. And negative 2/2 is x to the negative 1. This negative exponent can be rewritten. Remember, we don't like answers with negative exponents. So that means that this number, or this expression, is going to go in the denominator with exponent of 1 positive. And that's equals to 1 divided by x. I don't need to write x to the 1. Number 65, which is the last problem we're going to be doing in this video, is negative 4x to the 3/4 to the second. Okay? Just let me remind you that when you have a product and you have a power, let's say a 2, you can distribute this power to each one of the factors inside the parentheses, right? So you end up having s to the second times p to the second. So you're going to do the same thing here, okay? remember please that this number is negative. So we're going to have negative 4. Okay, I'm going to make this red so it's kind of easy for you to see. So this 2 is going to go here, and right, and then x to the 3/4, right, is going to be set to the second power. Okay, so this is easy to see. Negative 4 to the second power is 16, right? And x to the 3/4, now we're going to have to multiply these two numbers. Remember that if you have a to the second to the third, you multiply the 2 times the 3, and that gives you a to the 6. So that will be 3/4 times 2, right? So that will be 16x to the, that becomes a 2, 3/2. And I can write this as a radical if I want to expand this. This is the square root. This number right here goes as the root of x to the third. Okay? And that's the answer for number 65. Okay, so you are almost ready to finish activity 2.2. We need to finish scientific notation, and we'll be done with activity 2.